The global economy is on life support. It's been one assault after the other. First, the Wuhan virus pandemic, then the Russia-Ukraine war, and now the Israel-Hamas war. So people are asking the obvious question, is a recession imminent? According to Wall Street giants, it is. They say a recession is coming. Let's look at two names, two of the biggest names. One is Larry Fink. He heads the world's largest asset management firm, BlackRock. He says the probability of recession is growing. And why is that? Let me quote his statement. Rising fear creates a withdrawal from consumption or spending more, so fear creates recessions in the long run, which makes sense. When do people make big investments of purchases? When they feel secure, when they feel things are looking up. But a war is the opposite. It is filled with uncertainty or worse. And it's not just BlackRock. Another Wall Street giant is saying the same thing. Jamie Dimon. He heads America's largest bank, JP Morgan, and he says things are scary and unpredictable, arguably the worst since 1938. That's when the World War II was about to break out then, 1938. Now, both these analyses have one thing in common. They're based on geopolitics, on war and conflict. Right now, there are 32 live war zones in the world, 32 zones. Could be civil wars, could be drug insurgencies, or maybe ethnic fighting. All of them are destroying lives and property. But not all wars are the same. Some have a bigger impact on the world. I know it sounds unfair, but that's the harsh reality of our world. Russia, Ukraine, and Israel-Hamas are two such wars. The fighting is local, but their impact is global. And I'll tell you why. Ukraine and Russia are major food producers. In addition, Russia also produces energy. These are two key commodities for the global economy, food and fuel. And because of the war, both are more expensive. Same with Israel and Gaza. Neither side produces oil. But both are located close to oil-producing nations like Saudi Arabia and Iraq. And the result is this. Oil prices have crossed $85 per barrel. You and I are paying more at the petrol pump. That means more inflation, less savings, less investments, and of course, less growth. Let's look at where major economies stand today. Starting with the United Kingdom, Bloomberg says the UK is already in recession. The UK's GDP shrank by 0.5% in the June quarter. Data for the September quarter will be published this week, and experts say it will be another contraction, maybe around 0.1%. So technically, that's a recession. If your GDP shrinks in 2 consecutive quarters, it means you are in recession. The UK could already be there. Same with the Eurozone. It's a bloc of 20 European countries. All of them use the euro. In the September quarter, Eurozone's GDP fell by 0.1%. And this quarter is off to a bad start. What about the United States? Same story. Their latest jobs report is out. America's unemployment is 3.9%. In April this year, it was 3.4%. So the US job market is getting worse. And this is another indicator of recession. Like GDP, unemployment also tells a story. And right now, it's not telling a good story. Over in China, things are worse. Their foreign investment data has been published. For the first time, it is negative, meaning foreign investors pulled out more money than they invested in China, around $12 billion more. What does all of this tell you if you connect the dots? It tells you that we are entering a precarious period. If these wars drag on, there is a real threat of recession, a global meltdown. And do you know the worst part? It's all perfectly avoidable. In the last century, world leaders talked about just wars. Wars that were meant for global good, like the Second World War or the Bangladesh Liberation War. Yes, they affected the global economy, but the consensus is that these wars had to be fought. Not the ones we're fighting right now, though. Russia's invasion of Ukraine is not for the greater good, nor is Israel's demolition of Gaza. These are strategic and political wars. They can be resolved at the table. Just think about it. Russia wanted Ukraine to not join the NATO. That's not a humanitarian urgency. That's a political objective. Instead of talking it out, they decided to fight. Today is day 621 of that war. The Russia-Ukraine war, 621 days. Same with Israel and Palestine. At the root of that conflict is a political issue, that of the two-state solution. And you cannot resolve that with force. Hamas thought they could on October 7th. And now Israel is responding in kind. And this is a dangerous trend because wars are supposed to be the last resort, not the first response. So if you normalize conflict, it will spread.